What's up guys, today we're going to be going over the second new Warlock exotic in the Witch Queen, the Stasis gloves. And just like the Hunter review I did on their exotic, I've been kind of sleeping on a lot of these exotic armor pieces in Witch Queen because none of them really interested me based off their perk descriptions. But now that I'm testing them, they're all extremely good, and I'm kind of regretting not putting up videos a little bit sooner because these things are awesome and result in a really good Stasis build that allows for truly infinite grenades with really no setup at all. So if you look at what these gloves do, your cold snap grenades have an additional charge that recharges quicker on direct impact. The secret spawn from cold snap grenades also travels further. So we obviously need to use cold snap grenades on Stasis, which have a base cooldown of 2 minutes and 1 second, which isn't the fastest but also not the slowest. And for this video, like usual, 100 discipline to get our grenade back as fast as possible. So the first thing this exotic does is give you 2 cold snap grenades, but more importantly, what isn't very obvious from the perk description is how you get grenade energy back. So if you direct impact a target, as you see, you get roughly 60% of your grenade back instantly. Then whenever it freezes a target, you also get like roughly 20%. So if you simply throw your grenade at a target and hit them, you're gonna get practically the full grenade back from hitting them, then also freezing them. Or if you just throw it at the ground and it seeks to the max of 5 targets, you should get the full grenade back. So completely by itself, it already is mostly an infinite grenade combo as long as you freeze 5 targets, which is the max you can do. And if you can direct impact a target, which is a little bit easier than you might be thinking, you're gonna be like guaranteed to get your grenade back. And one thing I did notice, but it's kind of hard to tell, is I think it scales to what type of enemy you're freezing or hitting. So hitting a major or freezing major, I think gives you a higher chunk than like a red bar, for example. But either way, just throwing this thing at a crowd, there's a very high chance you're going to be getting your full grenade charge back just simply with the exotic itself, which is a great thing because when it comes to using armor perks and mods with double charge abilities, a lot of them in the game don't work on the second charge. So for example, grenade kickstart, when we throw a grenade, we'll get a chunk back. If we do that with the second charge of the grenade, it just simply does not work. Same thing will happen for Wellspring or demo weapons. Getting kills should recharge our abilities, but once again, with the second charge of our grenade, getting kills with this Wellspring SMG does absolutely nothing. But on the first charge, it does work. So for whatever reason, this has been an issue all of Destiny 2 where a lot of perks just don't work for 2 charge abilities. And if we even try with Elemental Wells, just simply picking up any Elemental Well should give us a chunk of all of our abilities. And with a second charge, once again, it just simply does not work. So yeah, so far it seems like there is practically nothing that works with the second charge of our grenade, which makes it more or less pointless to even have a second charge if we can't really build around it. But there is one that comes in clutch and does work, and that's gonna be Firepower, which is the chargeable light system in a solar mod, and we can stack multiple of them to increase the effect. So with just Firepower on, as you see, it does work with the second charge, and we'll get a huge chunk of our grenade back when we throw it. So now if we make builds with that, there's gonna be a few different variations. The first one is gonna be all out Firepower. So we need one way to become chargeable light, taking charge, or if you're using like a GL, you can use blast radius or anything like that. But the one I'm using for this build is taking charge with a stasis weapon, then harmonic siphon to create the orbs. Then you just want 4 Firepowers to max out the amount of grenade we'll get back when we throw it. And if we look at our subclass setup, it's gonna be the same for all 3 different variations of the build I'm gonna show off for the most part. I'll show off what changes when I do so, but we're gonna be using Ice Flare Bullets and Bleak Watcher. Then the first 3 fragments will always be the same: Shards, Fissures, then Rending. And the final one for this build is gonna be Torment to help get our grenade back a little bit faster. And how this works is you simply just pick up orbs to become charged light. Then simply throwing your grenade will give you 60% back from Firepower. If you hit a target, roughly another 60% back. Then for every target that freezes, roughly 20% per target. So in theory, you could really get both of your grenade charges back from just throwing your first one. So it's definitely an infinite grenade combo. The only issue is you have to be picking up Orbs of Power, which if you're playing solo, a lot of your kills are going to be with the stasis explosions themselves and not be creating the orbs from harmonic siphon. So there's going to be a lot of times that you run out of chargeable light, or you have to go try to chase down an orb. So maybe not the most efficient combo, but that is where this version comes into play. So you can either drop Ice Flare or Bleak Watcher, it doesn't matter which one, but now we want to use Glacial Harvest to create Stasis shards when we freeze the target. And now with that, we can run one vein of Elemental Shards to make the Stasis shards count as Stasis wells, and with that we can then put on Elemental Charge. That way when we pick up the Stasis shard, counts as a Stasis well, which then means we get 2 stacks of Chargeable Light, and with those stacks of Chargeable Light, once again 3 Firepower mods. So we drop 1 Firepower, but this will be a way more efficient way to become Chargeable Light, and our 4th fragment here wants to be the one that makes the shards track to your location. So now with this, simply just freezing a target will then create the shards. Picking those up will count as the wells, which will give you 2 stacks of Chargeable Light. So you have that Firepower combo, and it's gonna be a lot more efficient than trying to track down Orbs of Power or anything like that. And given the fact that it does not require kills at all and it's so efficient, you can actually do this infinitely on a single target by simply just freezing them over and over again, which is really cool, but at the same time I'm not sure how useful that is. You could do this to a boss or like champions, but freezing champions doesn't really work that well because it usually disables the like stun effect. So even though this is a thing you can do, I'm not sure if you want to do it in any situation. Maybe you could try to do this on Caretaker and just freeze them and stun them over and over again so he can't move. That could be pretty funny, but overall this more so shows us how strong this build is. The fact that you can do it without even getting kills, just on a single target over and over again. And the final version of the build is like the most interesting and unique one. So we're going to be using a Void Weapon to still take advantage of Volatile Flow and the Volatile Rounds, which is one of the best abilities in the game. It makes your Void Weapon absolutely crazy. And now we want Frost Pulse to freeze targets when we put down our Rift and Ice Flare Bolts. Then our 4th fragment will be Whisper of Refraction to get our Rift back when we kill frozen targets. And now our mod setup looks like 1 Reaping Wellmaker to create Void Wells when we put down our Rift. Then we also have 2 perks on our Bond to give us chunks of our abilities back when we put down that Rift. Then we have the Volatile Flow as mentioned, along with Elemental Charge to become Chargeable Light. We also have 2 Bolstering Detonations to get a chunk of our Rift back when we hit things with the Cold Snap. And finally we have 2 stacks of Firepower to get a chunk of our grenade back when we throw it. So now with this build, you go around putting down your Rift to freeze all the targets. The first kill will drop a Void Well. Pick that up to get 1 stack of Chargeable Light. And then you can throw your Cold Snap, and as mentioned before, as long as you direct impact a target or freeze multiple enemies, you'll definitely get it back instantly. And while you're doing this, you'll have Volatile Rounds for your Void Weapon. So it's kind of a cycle of putting down your Rift to freeze things, getting a kill to create the Void Well, throwing your grenade to freeze more things, using your Void Weapon to both shatter all the frozen targets and apply the Volatile Rounds to everything. So it's a pretty unique combination of both Stasis and Void at the same time, and it's really cool. Anyways, I think that's me for the commentary, just some Strike gameplay left. I'm kind of getting a little bit sick, so I'm going to try to save my voice for the next few videos. Like usual, thanks for watching, catch you guys next time.
Dense hive signatures in a facility up ahead.